Hi, I'm Natasha Lockhart. Welcome to Studio Chatter. We've got a great program lined up for you today.
I'm Angie Murphy. Do you sometimes struggle to start an important conversation? We'll talk about that.
I'm Angela Euler. We'll be talking about how to get your yard ready for winter.
And we'll talk about Halloween fun for the family. All this and more on Studio Chatter. Welcome to Studio Chatter. We are glad to have Angela Euler with us again.
Yay!
What's been going on with you?
Oh.
Anything new from... I mean, we got to see her twice this month. We're pretty lucky.
No, I got to see you guys. I got to be on here.
And now we're going to get attached.
I know.
Yeah.
They're going to come back more.
He may need 4 angels.
We need another chair. We need another chair.
A bigger table. What have you guys been up to? Anything fun?
Everything.
Okay.
Yes. So it was, I mean, we only had, I think, a week in between filming. So I felt like everything was kind of jam-packed. So we were doing soccer. We were doing figure skating. So we went to Oktoberfest.
She did really well. I think I saw the post.
Yeah.
Did she take first?
She did. Yeah.
Wow.
She had a beautiful program. So it was very nice.
I would love for you to post like her whole performance one time.
I tried to, and maybe I'm just not Instagram savvy because I think it doesn't just instantly go to
I think
Instagram
it's like 1
TV.
minute.
Does it give you, I was going to say, I think it gives
you 1 minute.
Yeah, but if you let it go longer or something, doesn't it just
go to the reel?
Go to at least Instagram TV or a reel or something.
I don't know these things.
Where's our Instagram professional?
I know. We need Wandy to come back and help us, right?
Yeah, we sure do.
Okay, so no, that was really great. So
that's awesome.
Oktoberfest, and so now that's the end of skating season per se. So then the kids will do a Halloween program at the ice arena. And then she'll just practice and do some of her testing through the fall, and then we'll be all jam-packed into dance season.
Oh my gosh.
Dance, here we come.
Yes.
I love
and then
it.
Mom is all kinds of travel. So
yes, you've got a bunch of work trips, right?
Well, I have work and some pleasure. So first one, going to Pueblo, Colorado to the Chili Festival next weekend. So my mom and I know, yay.
That sounds yummy.
You gonna put it on your spaghetti?
Maybe. Well, this is a different kind of chili. This is Pueblo green chili. It's so good.
Okay.
So, can you bring us back some?
We bring back pounds. That's kind of why we go. So we go to the farms and we buy it peeled and frozen, and then we bring it back. So.
Okay, you're gonna have to make us something.
Wow.
And I still have you guys' jam. I will still bring it.
Yes,
I forgot it tonight.
You bring the jam, I'll bring the dessert.
Okay.
Make sure and invite
you and
me.
Stacey can bring the main dish.
Yes, there we go.
Okay.
And then I'm off to Atlantic City for work, and then back to Seattle for work, and then family's taking off to vacation in Hawaii. So.
Wow.
That sounds fabulous.
Ending. Yeah, it should
that
be
sounds
great.
so great. Yeah. I just got back from a work trip myself. We went down to St. George and did a little like learning. We did disc, and it's just like every person is like a certain type of person. So like D is like more dominant.
Are you a D?
No, I was an S guy. I'm steady.
You're steady.
I love that.
Is this kind of like where people color code you?
It's kind of color coding, but it's like a workplace analysis. So they had you take a test, and then everyone's a certain category. And so we just learned all about each other. So we would do like 3 hours worth of like studying that, and then we would go lay by the pool. We went to Tuacahn and saw Joseph.
I was going to say, I saw that you guys saw Joseph.
Yeah.
Did you like that?
We did. We thought that Archuleta would be there. David, he had just finished up his stay there.
Oh, he did.
So,
he wasn't.
He had left a week before. But it was still amazing. It was still really good. And then we had just some fun time by the pool. And then I got back, and then I went straight up to my daughter's elk hunt. She drew her once-in-a-lifetime tag, and they hunted hard Saturday and Sunday. And then I went home and then watched the kids, and then got a phone call that she got her elk this morning.
She got it.
So exciting.
And she's like 22 weeks pregnant.
Holy cow.
Right? So she just got a little tummy. She was hiking like crazy.
Wow.
I'm so impressed with her, but she loves it. She was my child, like growing up, that didn't run for the dance shoes, even though she's a beautiful dancer, or the tiaras. She would grab my husband's baseball cap. Like she wanted to be just like Dad. And so she has just loved it. So that's been fun.
That's so exciting.
It's
Love
been
that.
a good week.
That sounds like my daughter. She's asking my husband can we go get hunter safety? She wants to do hunter safety.
Does she?
Wants to shoot with the boys. But I remember doing that. I had an older brother and a younger brother, and I wanted to kind of do what they did and shoot. And I'd have paintball wars with them. And
Isn't that
I think
fun?
it's good.
and it is.
too.
It's so good. And I have, and then some of my boys, they do. And I've heard that you do chores. You teach your kids different chores, some outside, some inside, and it doesn't matter. They used to have like gendered chores years ago.
100%. You
like
do
only
the yard
women
and the lawn mowing, and we do the dishes.
But
and laundry.
now they say to teach them everything. Teach your boys to cook. Teach your daughter to mow the lawn. Like do everything.
Oh, it's
I love
great
that.
skills, yes.
Yeah.
I love that.
remember, like, even in my farm life, my dad was like, if you can't drive until you learn how to drive a stick shift. Like, that was just one of those things. I think I probably learned how to drive a tractor first, but not very well.
Like a rite of passage for your family, traditional.
Kind of, yeah.
And now if you put your kid on a stick shift, they can't text and drive. Because
This is true.
So that's
Gotta
all
be
my
ready.
kids, when they start driving, I'm going to make sure they have a stick shift. I'm like,
That's a great
you will not be
idea.
able to text and drive.
Unless it's
love
all
that.
electric. Well, yours will probably get through that phase. My grandkids, I feel like it's electric coming,
Yes,
guys.
everything.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm even afraid of some of the electric cars. I mean, I love the idea, but I'm
Me
like, I
too.
don't know if I want it to be an autopilot. Like,
Right? I don't know if I trust it. There's been a few mistakes out there recently.
Right.
Oh, guys, busy life. We're glad Stacy went to Greece. I think she's back in town, so
I've been seeing some of the photos, and
Yeah.
it looks
It's
amazing.
so
I'll have to
pretty.
report.
Rough life at sea.
And the food. She's going to tell you all about the food.
Yes,
That's
I'm
what you want to
sure.
hear.
I told you
Yes.
guys earlier, and I'll tell you again, I was driving my grandson to school this morning, and who's out on the bike path? Stacy Beck, doing some explaining, I'm sure, of the trip, and I yelled out the window,
man.
welcome home, Stacy Beck! And then my cute grandson is like, who's Stacy?
And why is it that we identify her with Stacy Beck? Like, she's
Right?
not Stacy. I mean, I get
It's Stacey Beck.
but it always is
Yeah,
Stacy Beck.
it's the signs. It's
Yeah,
the political
is that what
signs.
it
It's just
is?
stuck
Yeah.
in our heads
'Cause
forever.
even my kids are
It
like,
is.
Are you going to see Stacy Beck?
Yes, I
Because
am.
people say that about my husband.
Do they?
Oh, your husband's Kevin Euler. Not just Kevin. He's not
That's
Kevin. He's
funny,
Kevin
isn't
Euler.
They've got to connect.
Yeah.
Yep.
People
That is,
associate
it's the
that.
right Kevin.
So speaking of hunting,
Yeah.
you're a huntress.
Yes.
Are you hunting this year?
I did not draw a tag this year. So we'll probably be doing duck hunting, but we didn't put in for, I didn't put in for a tag this year. You can just draw like a point, just
Okay.
buy a point, or you can actually try and draw a tag. And usually with a deer tag in Utah, it's like every 2 years you'll probably draw. But the boys, we drew 2 tags last year, so this year, nobody. So that's sad.
And then going all the way to the other end of the spectrum, it was just the Queen's passing.
Oh,
So were you able to
yes.
watch any of that?
I did watch a little bit here or there.
I've always been intrigued with royalty. So
She's all we've known, right? In our lifetime.
Well, but think of what she's seen in her lifetime.
Right.
I mean, she went through the war, all these wars, and saw technology just go from. I mean, that's what fascinates me is that
Right.
that generation too. But she was such a steady beacon for that country,
she
and
was.
and through all of the turmoil that they had there.
Yeah. She's been their focus, their centerpiece. So I hope that
It will be very interesting.
King Charles can come in
Isn't that
and
crazy?
do a great job.
And I remember watching the royal wedding when I was 6 years old.
Oh, yes.
With Diana. So
Yes.
just watching all of the pomp and circumstance, and then the saddest piece today were the little the corgis and the dogs when they were.
Oh, I
laying
didn't get
her
to watch
rest.
it today.
Yeah.
I'm
We'll
gonna have to go.
You'll have to go back and watch.
I
some
will.
Of it, but
Yeah, she was a beloved woman. I think
Indeed.
by many countries.
Yes. And we have a great show today.
Yes, we do. An exciting one.
Next on Studio Chatter, the season is changing. What about your yard? Stay with us. Welcome back to Studio Chatter. We've had our next guest with us many times before. You might say they're perennials. Let's welcome Travis and Stephanie Knoop from Laughing Owl Greenhouses to the table. Welcome, welcome.
Welcome, guys.
So here.
I'm glad you said perennials because I get that mixed up. Annuals and perennials. Which
So let's
come
define
back.
that.
Yeah.
For
let's do
some,
that.
our friends that don't know.
Right. Yeah. No. So an annual is a flower you have to plant every year.
Okay.
They usually the ones that give you the brightest color, instant gratification right away. Our perennials are the ones that you plant and they survive year after year.
Like
for you.
dianthus. Would that be one?
Yeah.
So is it more about the annuals just can't survive the winter, or they just won't reseed well?
Yeah.
Or won't just...
So it's a lot of combinations of a lot of different things. Sometimes it's weather, sometimes it's their season. That's all that they'll give you. And then the next year they'll regenerate, by a seed. But yeah.
Okay.
Perennials is usually regenerated through a root. You want to keep those roots insulated.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if we were smart, we would do perennials like all the time, right?
Yes.
And not
Okay.
have to keep
And then just a
replanting
few,
them.
because the annuals are so pretty though.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
you've
hard
got to
not
throw
to...
some-
Mine are backwards this year. They just now decided to like come out and pop out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
It's been a weird year though this
Right.
year it's been a tough growing season for everybody. Our customers have also kind of said the same thing, like
Okay.
their yards just have not responded.
Dry, yes.
It's been dry. The heat
The drought
has
has
been
kind of
intense.
changed everything, and I feel like they're wanting us to do more of the Zeroscaping, and I haven't transitioned there yet, but
Yeah.
how can we kind of integrate that? Or what have you guys seen?
Right. So
this year?
one thing that Stephanie and I saw right off the bat was a huge need for the understanding of how Zeroscape works. And when a lot of people think of Zeroscape, they just think, ugly rocks and one or
Yes.
two plants, right?
Yes.
And that's not at all the case. There are several varieties of perennials, trees, and shrubs that you can use to really beautify your yard. We've got perennials that will give you color all season long. And so we've actually started a design section of our business where we have now been doing a lot of design work for our homeowners. And part of our initiative is to make sure what our goal is that you have some color throughout the entire year. So you have early season, summer, fall, and going into winter.
Because that's what we have here. We're not like in Arizona or St. George. We really
Yeah.
like see that all around us. So it's hard to go like straight to rock and grass.
Right.
So I love
Nothing
that you're
else.
talking about this, because we just ripped out our park strips and we're Zeroscaping it, and
Yeah.
we're trying to figure out what's the best. So tell me just a couple of really great plants
Yeah.
to put in there that are good for next to the rock.
So we're on our 23rd yard right now that we've designed, and just in this last summer, a lot of the items that we're using is items such as like your gaillardia or blanket flower. We use a lot of Carl Forster, which is a water-wise grass. There's all different types of grasses. There's different types of perennial desert flowers that will provide the color that you're looking for.
Okay.
The trick is making sure you have drip on it. So
Yes.
Zeroscapes, they work wonders. You save a lot of water, but you've got to make sure you have the right drip
So
system in
just the
place.
lines and the drips, and you can help with that, right?
Well, because some of them
Absolutely.
may
Yeah.
need more water than others. Is that what you're
Exactly.
saying? And so if you plant something there that is just getting a little bit, but it needs more, then that's a problem.
Exactly. So like a gaillardia or a blanket flower, that's a true native flower that you find here in the desert.
Okay.
You can go out to the West Desert and you'll see them growing naturally. They don't like a lot of water. And so if that's one of the items that we have in that yard, we'll make sure to put a smaller emitter that gives it less water versus something like a lavender that might require a little bit more water.
Because more water can kill too.
Exactly.
I'm learning that.
Yep.
Yes,
what happens.
I've done that too.
I have done that many a times.
You loved your plants to death.
Yes, I do. Overwatered.
Especially the succulents, you know.
Yeah,
My kids
totally.
loved my succulents to death. I'm like, no, stop putting water. We're helping you, Mom.
Yeah.
All the extra water that
My
nobody's
husband's like,
drinking.
I sit out there for like 30 seconds to 2 minutes, and I was like, wow.
Dude,
I
that
thought I
or the
was
opposite,
bad.
where they're like, I'll water while you're on vacation, and then you
Then
come
they
back in
don't.
instead.
I never judge. I'm like, I get it. Okay, so tell us how we can transition now into our winter or fall months with our yards,
With your yards.
yeah,
So-
and our porches.
Well, and I know that Natasha, you just talked about how your yard, like things are kind of starting to bloom out. Like my spring
Yes.
planters are starting to flower. I'm like, I'm not ready to get rid of you yet. You still look good.
Yes.
And so what I did is I went through the ones that still looked good, that were starting to bloom. One, I fertilize almost every watering. And so that will help those blooms
Oh, wow.
reproduce.
Okay.
And then especially since we still have those, I mean, we're still having warm weather. And then on some of them, I just dig a little hole in the middle and I plop up a mum in there. And some of them I'll dig a hole. Some of them I'll just leave them in the planter so that when it dies, I can just take it out and replace it with a new one.
I love
so
that.
So that's an easy way.
So
to
I'm glad you said that too, because I think that is my fear sometimes too, because some things are doing okay over here, but then you have something kind of dead and ugly over here. I'm like, oh, can I take it out? Should
I just like pull out whatever I don't like anymore. Or if it just is looking scraggly, I'll just pull it out and start sticking it. I put in maybe some mums. What else have we put in there? Cabbage in there.
Yep.
Even some pumpkins. We have a combination or a planter class that's going on this week. We'll have a few more this fall, but that you can just come in and do your own planter of things that maybe you can replace, or things you can just stick in your planters that are still
I
doing
love that.
Yes,
I'm
I love
the queen
this,
of throwing
yes.
pumpkins into my like front grasses and stuff. And then the stuff from the backyard that's kind of dying, I'll put it on my porch and kind of do that same thing. So that's okay.
Well,
And my
it's so
biggest
festive.
thing that I've been working on this year is taking my mums. Our mums are perennials, and a lot of people just toss them.
Yes.
But we have some mums that are planted from last year that are now humongous, that are starting to rebloom. So if you know that you have a spot, like maybe in the middle of your vegetable garden, those mums are going to keep some of the pesky pests away.
Okay, so how do we do it? We let them go till October?
Yeah, until they stop blooming, and then I just dig a hole, stick them somewhere else. And
Do I
then-
need to cut them off or anything, or just?
I didn't last year. I just left them.
Yeah.
I did not know they were perennials.
Yes, and so a lot of people toss them.
Yes, toss. Yes.
Okay,
They
and
put
then
them
what
out
about-
on the graves, and then they
Yes,
plant them.
that's what I
We all need to go gather them up.
I need a drip
I feel
system at
ashamed.
my mom's headstone. I do. I put them out there. 2 days later, my dad's like, "Did you put a flower there? You need to water it." I have a question about the grasses. I have some in pots throughout my backyard on my porch. Can I cut those off and should I replant them in my yard, or can they stay in the pot and come back again?
Yeah, so the thing about the grasses, my assumption is that they're perennial grasses,
Yeah,
correct?
I'm assuming.
Okay.
We're going to find out.
You can leave them in pots. The thing about grasses is, they're going to widen out, so you want to put it into a bigger pot every year.
Okay.
The other thing you can do, and I don't like to share this out too often, but you can go in and you can cut those grasses in half, and now you've got two. And then you put one in one pot and the other in another pot.
Okay.
And now you've got two grasses growing. And then
Can I put them in my yard?
You can.
I could.
Yeah,
Okay. And do I
absolutely.
need to cut them down low with the grasses?
You-
Because I see people do that.
You can. And so it's all preference, really. It
Okay.
doesn't hurt and it doesn't help
Or you
anything.
can just let
Oh,
them
it
flop
doesn't.
over.
Okay.
You can let it flop over. I like to let things get real tall and straggly because I think that extra that extra growth on top acts like an insulator, like a blanket.
Yeah, that
so if
makes
you get a
sense.
really, really cold spring or a really, really cold winter like we did this last winter,
Yeah.
that just kind of gives it a little bit added security that it's going to keep the roots warm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm gonna
that's
try
a
that.
good tip.
Split it, put them in too.
Yep.
Or maybe in my yard. I really wanted to transplant them to the yard. So.
Yeah.
And if you have questions, just take a picture and send them to us on Instagram or Facebook.
Oh, you guys always say that.
And we will
I need
help
to do
you.
that. Need to.
Well,
know.
my mom has been obsessed with hollyhocks this year, and I love hollyhocks. So, I mean, right now is the time to plant them? Or are we a little late?
You're a little late for the hollyhock. You can, but they're not going to do anything until next spring
Next year,
anyways.
okay.
Yeah, if you want to get them in the ground, right now is just kind of that in-between time frame where you can put things in the ground, but it's a 50-50 risk of it's
Yeah.
going to survive or not.
Okay.
Ideally, you'd like to get all your perennials in the ground by August
Okay.
and going into the first couple weeks of September.
Just so their roots get in there or something?
Yeah,
Okay.
you want those roots to really get in there and really dig in and get set for the winter. If you plant much later than that, you run the risk of the roots not anchoring in, and if you get a cold snap, it comes in, it can go straight down and get to those roots and kill them. So.
Oh my word, we love your expertise. Please come back and
Right?
visit us again. So if anybody wants your help, Instagram, online,
Facebook.
and Facebook. Okay.
And all
Fantastic.
this joy
Yes.
and love.
So
We love it.
We're gonna try and get to go to it. We're
Yeah,
gonna try and get to
and
a
this.
class. Yes,
Okay.
all of it. Love
Yeah.
it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Coming up on Studio Chatter, we've got a great idea for your Halloween family outings. Stay with us to find out more. Welcome back to Studio Chatter. There's nothing like a stroll through a corn maze, games and activities for the kids, and a true Halloween fun fest. Yep, we're talking about Gordo's Fun Farm. Let's welcome Brady and Madeline Gordon to the table. Welcome.
Hello, guys.
Hey.
So nice to have you.
So you're the two in charge of this whole show, yes?
Yes.
You really are? Oh,
Yeah.
And how did you get this role? Tell us a little bit about what you guys do.
Well, I was married in the family, so
So that's what she did. She
yeah, I
married it.
didn't start it.
So you work 1 month every year, right?
Yeah.
Is that how it works? No.
So it actually started 3 years ago. She actually helped me paint our first little
Bridge
bridge,
over the
orange
ditch.
bridge, yes.
Yeah.
And then she went on a mission to Indiana, and I kept rolling with the Fun Farm while she was on her mission. So we had our first 2 years, and now she's home, and we got
Yeah.
married in February. I should know that. February.
Oh, awesome.
And so now we run it together, and it's been really fun this year to have us both there. So.
It's super fun.
A relationship made at the Fun
Yeah.
Farm.
Yeah.
So sweet. Was it your brainchild, like that kind of started everything, or was it a family tradition that kind of started into something, or how did it all come to be?
Yeah, we started, so my grandpa, many people know my grandpa Randy Gordon. We've always grown up doing the farmer's market with pumpkins and sweet corn and all those things, and as a kid I always watched these places, you know, that had pumpkin patches and stuff.
Yeah.
And one day me and my cousin Bennett Gordon, we went to my grandpa and said, what if we did a pumpkin patch, you know? And he said, I'm too old for this. If you guys want to do it, here you go run with it. Like, we'll grow the pumpkins, you know, you can sell them there. So we worked out a deal with him, and then got it together, and we said, we can't go halfsies on this. If we're going to do a pumpkin patch, it's got to be all the way.
So then, awesome. So what kind of activities do you have there now?
We have a corn maze, a petting zoo, we have a train, we have got a corn pit, a whole bunch of slides that we've made that come off of like old trucks and
Tractors.
tractors.
And,
It's
yeah.
super fun.
Love that, a corn pit. That's
awesome.
always one of my
Yes.
favorites.
Yeah.
Angie just wants to do the
I just want
snow
to
angel.
the snow angel and
Corn
get in
corn
there.
pit.
Yep. How much corn does it take to like fill one of those pits?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
Really good question. This year we have just over 6,000 pounds.
6,000 pounds.
I can't even. Are you shucking it? Does it go through something? How do you even do that?
Well, we grow sweet corn, but this is field corn, so it's hard for cows. You know, it's the hard kernels. We actually just get it from a supplier, IFA.
Okay.
But
Okay, so you're not having to shuck this
Right,
corn.
yeah.
You could
That would
just
be
dump
way
that
too
in
much
there and
work.
fill the pit. Excellent. Good to know.
Right.
So how many like pumpkins? Like what do you have to buy or sell? I guess there as well.
So all kinds of fresh produce. Out front of the Fun Farm we have my grandpa's produce stand that's been there. There's sweet corn all summer long. We've got tomatoes, watermelons, zucchini, and then right now we're starting to sell all the winter squash, and we've got all 53 different varieties of pumpkins this year. So
Wow.
we're just starting to fill up the stand, and 32 acres with 53 varieties of pumpkins. So
Did you
there's a
say
lot of
32 acres?
yeah.
That is a
A lot
lot.
of pumpkins.
So if you bring the littles down to the farm, is there like a punch pass, or what can they do, or what can they buy?
That's a good question. We have family passes.
Okay.
So they would get 10 admissions for the price of 8.
Okay.
And that's like a pretty good deal.
And then just the general admissions, $8.50 per person, and it includes everything there is at the farm.
So we can go on the train.
Yep.
In the pit.
And the corn maze.
Yep.
And in the
Down the
zoo.
slides.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Do
you-
they have like a little tractor pull or something through the corn? Or
Yes.
the pumpkin patch, I guess?
Not through the corn.
But yeah, we
maze.
go around one of our big tractors, and there's a fun little trail. And
Okay.
yep.
And then at night, do you have like a night corn maze or is it open until the evening?
Our hours are noon to 9.
Okay. Every day.
Sunday, no, not Sunday.
You're right.
Not Sunday. Monday through Saturday.
Okay. Sundays off.
Yes.
Nice.
So every day.
They always make fun of me because I asked the question about food.
She loves food.
So besides the stuff you're selling that she could maybe eat on the spot.
Right. Are there food trucks, or are there concessions? What is there available?
Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, this year it's kind of fun. My little brother and his wife, they got married recently as well and have a connection with fizz drinks. And so they've converted a horse trailer into
It's so cute.
a fizz drinks. They have
Cute.
pretzels and cookie dough bites. There's a few other treats they have in there, but it's a really fun little spot. They have some fun kids drinks with different gummy sharks or gummy cows and stuff like that.
Shark
for the kids.
drinks.
So,
Yep.
yeah.
Grandpa loves that one.
Yes, my kids love the fizz drinks and the little mean chick. I think that's their favorite.
Yes.
is the mean
That's a
chick.
popular
have-
one.
I have that
Rainbow
one.
Sprite or something
Yeah.
like that.
Now, do you guys have theme days?
We don't have theme days. We do every Saturday in October. We have we call it Food Truck Saturday. So that's the other thing. Fizz is there the whole season, and then we have Food Truck Saturday starting in October. So
Okay.
there'll be Waffle Love, Apollo Burger, Jurassic Tacos, and then it's called Onos Malasadas. They're Hawaiian donuts.
Yes.
Hawaiian donuts.
They'll each be there
Maybe
Saturday.
they're every weekend.
Donuts.
So we have to go to the patch to get dinner, right?
Yes, awesome. Well, it sounds like we need to go.
Yeah, well, I think one other thing was a draw. I think that when we had gone last year, is there a balloon guy?
Yes.
That would be Bronco.
Okay.
So his
My kids loved that.
the balloon guy. I'm gonna have to tell him that.
Okay, yes.
They call him that. But
Okay.
yeah, Bronco. That's like his own little stand he puts up, and he learned how to like tie all the balloons to make animals and whatever. He hasn't got it up yet. He has to remember how to make them all.
Oh no.
But once he does, he'll bring it back.
So he just does it just for this time of year?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So
Yeah.
then
Is he
he's
a
gotta reteach
cousin or a
himself?
relation, or how does that work?
He's my little brother.
Oh, it's your little brother. Okay, well, you tell him it was very popular with the
Okay.
children.
He won't be able to get off the hook because he's family. You have to come back.
Right.
So how many little workers or whatever does it take to manage the fun farm?
We right now a lot of it is us. We do the field trips and the cashiering and stuff. But then we try to keep it Gordon family. She has 13 kids in her family, so we've
Oh my
now
goodness.
her family started joining.
Yeah.
So they live local then, I'm assuming?
Benjamin.
Yeah.
So it's I think usually we have 3 or 4 between all of my little siblings, her siblings, and cousins.
Just
that are there
rotating in there
running
every day.
Running the thing, and it's a fun.
I love that it's family run and owned.
So our
Yeah.
producer has actually filmed the Halloween video that
Yes.
Spanish Works that he does that we filmed down there before. So that's a ton of fun. And if everybody brings, are there wagons down there? There
Yes,
are, right?
yeah.
To pull and
Pull
take
pumpkins.
your pumpkins home. Awesome.
Guys, I love this time of year.
Oh, we love this
So
here.
fun.
It's so cozy. I mean, we're in our fall attire
Yes.
today, so we're ready.
Okay. So everybody can find you on Instagram, Facebook, all the places. Yeah.
Yep. So Gordo's _fun_farm. That's our for all
Alright.
all the things.
Gordo's Fun
Instagram,
Farm.
Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
for having us.
Of course.
Coming up next, have you got something to say but don't know where to start? Stay with us to find out on Studio Chatter. Welcome back to Studio Chatter. Conversations can be some of the hardest things to start at work or at home. Our next guest has real help for us in getting the ball rolling. Let's welcome Ella Wright from the Start the Conversation podcast.
Welcome.
I'm so happy to be here.
And you flew
Thank you.
all the way from.
Flew from Indiana to be here tonight.
Oh,
Guys, she grew up in my ward, one street over.
Yeah.
I've known her for forever.
You've known me for a long
Yes.
time.
She
yeah.
hung out with my little Mackenzie.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I feel like she should still be 13, right? And then she's teaching me how to talk and how to conversate. But I had saw a post on Instagram about you starting your podcast. So I just clicked on it one day and started listening to it, and I was like, amazing. Like, we've got to have her on the
Thank
show.
you.
I did not know you were living in Indiana because I don't
Yes.
really follow Instagram. So I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
we would love to have you on the show.
It was perfect timing though. This was 2 weeks ago,
Right?
so I was like, oh my gosh, I get to
Right?
like
and she's
come
like, I
share.
need to be in Utah. So
well, it was
Yeah.
meant to be then,
Yes.
right?
It's meant to be.
So tell us a little bit about yourself personally, and then
Yeah.
how you got started into all this.
Yes.
Okay.
So, born and raised in, well, I guess born in Salt Lake, but raised in Spanish Fork. And then after college, I ended up going to grad school at Arizona State University. I studied organizational leadership. So that's what I got a master's degree in, so I've always just had this like passion for understanding like what makes someone worthy or exciting to follow and to listen to, like as a leader and a communicator. And so a lot of my research in grad school was on how leaders and businesses can be innovative and engage their employees. And so my final research project, I called it Start the Conversation. And I was like, I just want to deep dive into the best types of questions to engage and retain and develop employees, because I think everyone knows I should have better conversations, or employees want to feel that you trust them and that they can trust you. So I think the concept of a good conversation, everyone's on board with, but what are the actual questions you ask? How do you ask follow-up questions? How do you handle really difficult conversations where people aren't on the same page? So that's what I researched, and then I developed this card deck. I brought a copy with me of like physical conversation starters for leaders with their employees. And then, yes, you can.
Okay.
And then I was like, well, I want to start a podcast to make something more accessible for just anybody who wants to know how to start better conversations.
Right.
And
So-
some of your topics, because I looked on your podcast, like boundaries, or how do you, like criticism, or
feedback.
feedback.
I know. I
Being
was just,
defensive. Or,
yes,
yeah.
I was listening to 2 recently, and one was being defensive or not taking offense,
yeah.
maybe both. But I didn't think, I'm like, that's not me. I am not like that. But like, I'm such a perfectionist that, and I'm very aware, but when someone does call me out sometimes, I did notice, I'm like, oh, I do. Okay, so I need to just accept that what their words, that's their truth, and maybe introspect. So that one was really good for me to retouch on. I feel like as we get older, we feel like we know how to do these conversations, but we don't, again. We get weird.
Well, there's such a broad range, right?
Yes.
Because asking for compensation, or even, you know, how you're raising your kids, like how you have that conversation, or
With married
finance.
kids.
Yes.
I remember
Yeah.
the one with Rachel too about boundaries.
Boundaries
and like,
with parents,
how do you talk
yeah.
with your parents about like, this is what I need, and I know we've always done this traditionally, but I don't know. It was good. It was a good topic for me, the boundaries one as well.
So good. Well, and boundaries, with like work, with home, with, I mean, you could just go so many different directions, right?
Yeah.
So how do the cards play into starting a conversation? So if I need help starting the conversation, and we'll role play a little bit here at work, I'm worthy of a raise. I've been here a number of years. Like, how do you start that conversation? Do we go to the deck, or come to you?
You just pick one up.
Give me a call. We'll practice. So these cards are specifically for leaders when planning a conversation. But it's awesome that you asked that, because I'm actually evolving kind of my business model to make resources for leaders and starting their conversations. But especially with these like younger generations who just want to like look things up and like have like, people who are in the workforce now are so much more willing to go and Google, and I want to figure out how to ask for my raise, or like change things, or negotiate things. So I'm working on creating like a digital version of the resources, not only for leaders, but for employees as well.
Love it. Okay.
So right now the card deck is just for leaders, but the framework can still apply to employees starting the conversation, but it's just going to be different questions, and also helping them understand like how to do research, whether it's on asking for a new position or a raise, or managing your workload. And I think the cool thing about the podcast too is, even though a lot of things all relate back to a work setting, it really applies to everyone, which was
To everyday life.
my goal. Yeah.
You know, like I saw one of the topics that was lower your expectations or something.
Yeah.
Something about expectations. And I thought, the other day I was thinking about how I was disappointed in something, but it was because of my own expectations. And if I just change the way that I see things. But when I first started looking at your topics, so I'm going into the mental health field as a therapist. And so when I saw your stuff, I thought, is she doing something like that? And so this is interesting, the different variety that you're doing, but we talk about some of these same things in mental health.
Well, and you on your podcast you talked about that like a podcaster or a coach is different than like a therapist, and how you define that. So tell us a little bit that. I feel like it's a good answer.
Because a lot of these topics I think all fall into like the self-development category of just like whether it's boundaries or understanding your needs or like how to improve your capability to tolerate ambiguous and really difficult situations, whatever that is. But something that someone shared with me that was helpful is that therapy often focuses on like current behaviors and like past patterns, understanding why things are the way they are. Whereas coaching will focus on future situations and how you can prepare for that conversation with your boss. So I don't know if that's like a universal answer, but that's kind of how I separate it. Is therapists will often focus on, did your parents do this? Or, you know, like understanding those past patterns. Whereas a coach and as like consulting with like business leaders, I focus on where they want to go in the future and then setting up a strategy to get there.
Wow, that's awesome.
Okay, so hit a quick minute. I feel like we need like 5 episodes here. But the knowing, growing, moving, and grooving, explain that to us really quick.
So those are the 4 categories that I use in a conversation, and then I also work with small businesses to help them know how to engage and talk with their employees. So employees can take an assessment that I'm building and testing right now, and then as a leader I can tell you, you have 3 employees that are wanting to grow in their role, and here's what they don't have yet, or here's what they need from you, and then so on and so forth. So moving, I'm ready to move. Either I want to quit, or I'm ready for growth, or I need change. And then the grooving is, I'm doing great and I'm not ready for change, and I just need help to like maintain where I'm at. So those are just the 4 categories, and that's what I researched and tested in my degree, was how do you separate the types of conversations so that it's tailored to that person.
Totally. Okay, so we have the podcast.
Yes.
And then we have the conversation cards, and then you're leaning into coaching, and was there something else that we were doing?
So my ideal audience, I mean, podcast, anyone and everyone can listen, but my ideal audience, like how I work with clients, is small businesses. I've normally worked at, like before this, really large companies who have departments of dozens of people who do program development and employee training and leadership training. And so my goal is to focus on those small businesses with anywhere from like 6 employees to a couple hundred employees, and help their HR or their people operations through my framework know how to engage their employees while maybe not being in the position to hire out a full-on training team. So I can either build custom resources or come in and deliver trainings to help them start the conversation.
This is beneficial too, because my husband was telling me that it's more expensive for a company to rehire someone and retrain them.
Totally.
But if you can find a way to help what you have grow, become better, or enjoy it, or know how to talk and express things that they need to, then you're just better off as a company. You save so much more money not having to rehire because they're not happy and they just left.
Totally.
So
yeah, and it takes stress off of you as the leader as well, just knowing that you have, I mean, you know, you were saying, oh, we get older and it feels like we still need to learn how to communicate, but it's because every conversation is different and there's like so many different needs, you know?
Well, and I think that that's what it is.
No, I think there's such a need, because some of your leaders that you might even be talking about are so set in their ways they're not even open to the idea.
And I feel like with technology, conversation has become so unique and different.
True.
The face-to-face is different, so a lot of people can communicate better through a text than they really can in person, but a lot of the conversations in the workplace maybe need to happen in person, or vice versa, right?
Yeah.
Or with email, or
Well, that's
whatever
a
it
great
is.
point, because so many things get lost in translation too, because well, that's what I meant to say, but it was interpreted completely different. So having these tools to the leaders to get that across to the employees probably just make for a happier environment.
Yeah, you would hope so.
You would hope. Okay, so we have a quick minute. I just want you to share with us a little bit about your courses that you do, but then give us one piece of advice to start a conversation.
Ooh,
okay? Perfect.
So I am going to be releasing a course here soon all about the grooving category and how to use that portion of the card deck. So for any leaders or small businesses who are looking to retain their employees, and I think a lot of companies are challenged that, we can't promote everyone, we can't give everyone a pay raise, the economy's in a really challenging place. That is going to be awesome, and it's like a 15-minute course. My whole goal with like my podcasts and courses is to make it small and digestible, and not this big hour-long Zoom call. So that's what my first course is going to be on, is just engaging people where they're at without a pay increase or a promotion, or maybe you have some limitations. How can you help them feel engaged and fulfilled and like they're adding value where they're at?
Yeah, that's perfect.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay, and give us one piece of advice to make our conversations better.
Ooh, I think my piece of advice would just be to be less apologetic, which might sound interesting, but I think oftentimes I'm so sorry, or it's not a big deal, or don't worry, or we're very apologetic in our communication.
Yep.
And as leaders and humans and friends, like unless you've set a hard expectation, you don't need to apologize for expressing your needs or for whatever it is that's happening. So maybe that's not what you expected, but it's just...
No, that's exactly what I need.
Okay, you're coming back the next time you fly in. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ella.
Thank you.
There's more studio chatter coming up. Welcome back from Yard Care, Halloween Fun, and Starting Conversations. We had a full program. What are your takeaways?
Oh my gosh, I loved learning about getting my yard ready for winter because it's just, I see it every time I come and go from my house. It's just on my mind, and we needed way more time with them.
Definitely.
To learn
I feel
more.
like off air we had some great conversations that I wish Pete would have recorded, but yeah.
Yes.
They're so great.
They're great people, but just to take in that education and
What are these?
what are these
Freeze-dried strawberries?
nuggets of goodness?
And these from our
Wall
friends
Brothers
at Wall Brothers.
Orchards.
We love those.
Somebody was sending the vibes today.
The fall vibes.
I literally
at the table.
today. I'm like, I really would love a
Okay,
cider.
are these the ones?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
I couldn't stop talking about them last time we were on.
Now we need some like herbal
Grab a
tea or
strawberry.
something.
Yes, Laughing Owl is amazing. I feel like they're coming full circle with what they're offering. They designed Pete's front yard,
Yes, which is amazing.
which is amazing. And they said that was a great catapult. So I think that if you're in the market for Zeroscaping,
Yes.
drive by
yes.
Pete's.
And what about the Fun Farm?
Love it.
Oh, Gordo's.
Yes.
And
And the cutest couple. I just keep thinking of their story,
are.
right? They met on the
that's
farm
crunchy.
and now. Yes, it is.
because they're freeze dried.
Gordo's is awesome. And she told us that the theme of their corn maze this year, it says kindness always wins.
Oh, that's a good message for today. I really think that.
Yeah, I think it's
And
great
they had to
message.
spell that out in their maze.
I guess so. Well, there's, I guess, electronic ways to probably do that and know how to cut it just
yeah, they
correctly,
plug it
so.
into their, and then it just drives.
Some little
Isn't that
chopper.
amazing?
I think, right?
That's how it sounds.
It does.
Okay. And your
I've never
friend,
been there,
though.
but yes.
Ella.
And then sweet Ella. I mean, the chances of me reaching out to her and then her coming to Utah, because she's moved to Indianapolis, I did not know that. I just reached out to her and I was like, I would love to have you as a guest. And then she's like, I'm happened to coming into Utah in a couple weeks.
A rare occasion.
Yeah.
Well, it was meant
but
to be.
Yeah, a plethora of information there, guys.
Well, I'm predicting like
Big things for her,
big
right?
things for her.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's.
She just has the
She's
knowledge
so
and
smart.
Oh,
just
you
the
can
way
tell.
that she portrays
Yeah, her
what she's
aura.
talking about. Yeah.
Well, she's able to pitch that platform to commercially, corporate, to personal. I mean, there's just so many ways to take that, and everybody needs it.
Yeah. And like I was talking about before, I think with technology and how it's changing conversations and the way we conversate. And I think there's a lot of like things that are unsaid and should be said, but we think they're being said in a certain way. And I think she brings up just a lot of great topics. Like her podcast, it is about starting tricky conversations, but all just about tricky conversations in general.
Right.
She just
Yeah, for
talks
anybody.
about-
I mean, it's very applicable.
and brings it like to the open.
Yeah,
a lot
it's
of these.
very applicable to every day. I mean, when I looked at some of her topics, I thought, oh, this is something. Yes, I could listen to
Right.
that
Yep.
and that and that.
Right.
And like you were saying
Gets
about
us
the
talking.
difference of the way we talk. We do so much online that face to face
Right.
is
Tricky.
changing a little bit more.
Yeah, it
So
I think people need to learn how to speak again. I mean, I even read an article the other day about people coming back into the workforce and losing manners. Just
Yes.
losing their manners because they were trapped at home. They don't have
In
table
their
manners.
pajamas.
Yes, I mean they're dressing inappropriately or the wrong way, or
and how to interact with
and
real
yes,
human beings,
yes,
right?
Yes, because everybody's always like this.
Yep.
So yeah,
I think
all
she
great
had a
things.
lot of great
Yes.
stuff. Yeah.
That was great.
So that was really awesome, guys. Did we hit on everyone? Yeah.
I
We
think
need to go to
did.
Gordo's. We need to go jump in the corn pit for Angie again.
Are there enough weeks left that we could literally do all
of
of
them.
the fall fun farms?
Oh, I
Yes.
would imagine so.
I know Corn Bellies is open until November, beginning of November.
Okay.
So you've got like 6 weeks.
Yeah, we're just talking like here
really good.
in this
But
in South
even-
County, yeah.
Well, they have
Right, they're
Corn
selling,
Bellies,
yeah.
and then Gordo's.
Lakeshore.
I assume that they all go till the end of October. I guess I shouldn't assume that, but
Glen
look it up.
Ray's, yeah, I think they all do.
I mean,
and then Jakers, and then is there another one, or is that just perfect?
Gordo's, Glen Ray's, Jacobs,
4?
yeah. And
There's
Corn
another one
Bellies.
out there. Contact us. We'd love to have you on the show.
and then
Yes.
you can stop at the barn,
Oh my gosh.
and we've
These-
been dying to try these.
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna try these over and out, right? Thanks for being here with us.
Delicious.
We hope you enjoyed the program. If you learned something new today, please tell a friend about us.